I'd like to explain how body-centered psychotherapy works. Did you know your body is a storehouse for all that you are? So that means your body stores your mental process, your emotional process, and your spirit. So that means every stress and trauma you've ever experienced is recorded in your body, and that's known as body memory. And I want to give you an example of this, how the body stores memory, and if held over time, it can become a block or a negative energy pattern. And I want to use myself as the example because it's a really clear example of what happened to me on my path towards wholeness and how the body knows how to heal itself. When I was 5 years old, my father died very suddenly in the night. That obviously changed my life forever. And oddly enough, I was sent to school the next day because back in 1962, there was not a lot of common knowledge on how to handle sudden grief. So on my way home from school the next day, I invited a little girlfriend to come home and play with me. When we got to my house, my mother asked me to come into the bathroom with her because it was the only private room at the time in the house. She shut the door and we both sat down, and her intent was to break the terrible news to a 5-year-old that her father had just died and was never coming back. What she told me was, Sandy has to go home. You can't play anymore because your dad died last night. Now, what my mother's intent was and what my psyche heard were probably two very different things. But what I heard was, I can't play anymore because my dad died last night. That became a frozen memory inside my body, and held over time, that became a negative energy pattern. Years later, it played out as two disruptive behaviors for me. Firstly, in my early 20s, I developed an eating disorder. My bulimia was a way to unconsciously simulate what happened to me many years previously and try to understand it and process it because it was too overwhelming for a 5-year-old. It's no coincidence that I spent my time throwing up in a bathroom, the very same place I was told of my father's death. And secondly, I developed anxiety attacks in my late 20s. Every day I'd wake up with an anxiety attack, dreading my day, extreme fear about what could possibly go wrong. It was like I was unconsciously preparing for what could become a death every day of my life. These behaviors were my body's way of getting my attention so that I'd begin to heal and do my work. Our bodies are so literal and intelligent that when our body's ready to heal, that frozen memory that's been stored inside us will come up to the surface to be felt, like in my case, an anxiety attack, or acted out as bulimia. This happens so we'll wake up and begin to heal and integrate our trauma and our wounds and move towards wholeness. This is when I discovered a body-centered technique known as applied kinesiology. It's also known as muscle testing. And through muscle testing, I was able to identify that old negative energy pattern that went back to being 5 years old when I believed I couldn't play anymore and shift it to a new positive energy pattern. I deserve joy. It's okay to have fun. And that was anchored in my body through this technique. I was also able to shift internally that stressful memory of the scene in the bathroom that day. So the body becomes a gateway to healing ourselves. It's really that simple. And the body will show us how to do it if we let it. This is what body-centered psychotherapy is all about. And I've been working with the body and shifting patterns of energy within it now for nearly 30 years. This type of energy work on a mental and emotional level within the body is today becoming known as energy psychology. If you're ready and willing to go inside yourself and get rid of these old negative energy patterns that no longer serve you or hold you back, I will help you change your life like I changed mine. If any of this speaks to you, I invite you to contact me. Thank you for watching.